Today or tomorrow, that is the latest from President Trump on a potential timeline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. So we wait for any information that crosses on a possible deal here. Oil prices taking a tumble on hopes of a deal, 75 and change right now per barrel for crude oil. Here is the president last night with Trace Gallagher.
They wouldn't be talking if we weren't doing what we're doing. We hit them very, very hard, but the hard hit is yet to come, and hopefully we won't have to use it. I hope we won't have to. We're having very good discussions. They don't like to admit that. They want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. If they don't make a deal, it's going to be too bad.
Chief International Correspondent Steve Harrigan reports live from Tel Aviv. Hi, Steve.
Martha, this morning, officials in Bahrain saying their country is coming under another attack from Iran. This time it is ballistic missiles targeting Bahrain, and that comes as President Trump continues to mention the very optimistic possibility of a deal on the Strait of Hormuz that would allow the free passage of commercial shipping through Hormuz, that this could take place as early as today. Here's President Trump.
Tomorrow or the next day. Tomorrow, a lot of progress has been made. And they called me and they said, please, let's talk. They want to talk. But the funny thing is they never mention that. They always say, we're not talking. But they called. They wanted to talk. We've been talking.
Iran continues to insist that there are no direct talks underway with the U.S. They do say, however, that they are negotiating with Oman, and the International Monetary Fund really talking about what a hit Iran's economy is taking from the war and from the U.S. blockade. They estimate Iran's current level of inflation at near 70%. Martha, back to you.
Steve, thank you very much. And with that, we bring in Rich Goldberg, former director for countering Iranian weapons of mass destruction for the White House, the National Security Council. He has engaged in direct talks with Iran, and he's a senior advisor at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Rich, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to start with this. This has just crossed about a half an hour ago. Iran's president, Pezeshkian, says that interaction with the country's supreme leader is, quote, very difficult at this time. Why would he put out a message like this when we're in this newest window where the president believes a deal may be coming?
Well, there had been some stories floating inside of Iran that actually tried to characterize Pezeshkian as having had some sort of interaction with the supreme leader in the last 24, 48 hours, that he was whisked away. Some voice was talking to him. He didn't actually see who the person was. He was told it was the supreme leader. Now we have this comment, and we have to see what the context was, obviously, for the comment. But in the end, this is some sort of cross between, Weekend at Bernie's and some other, use your metaphor for somebody who's missing in action and playing supreme leader. Either he's dead and they won't admit that, he's just terribly mutilated, kept in hiding, can't communicate in some way. Ahmed Vahidi, the head of the IRGC, is likely running the show here with a committee around him and just in a food fight nonstop with people like Pezeshkian and others who are more the political and technocratic side of the house, who are saying, the blockade is killing us. We can't survive.
Yeah, they're the political leaders. They have to, even in some small sense, I guess, even in Iran, answer to the public in some way. We know that the economy is so bad. We heard stories the other day about people selling their hair online and in classified in sort of ads that, just selling the stuff in their house in order to survive. When you hear the president say that he thinks that there's a deal coming together, do you think that's true?
I think the IRGC or somebody on the Iranian side is talking to the Omanis. They're trying to negotiate out the elements that were missing in the MOU that were supposed to be negotiated through the MOU of how the Strait of Hormuz would operate. But remember, all of that will still potentially be dependent on whether or not the president lifts the blockade or not. We've seen a different comment come out from another Iranian leader today saying they can negotiate all they want with Oman. In the end, it has to do their response, their threats to the strait will be commensurate with what the United States is doing, meaning our blockade. If I'm the president, you got to look at both sides of the ledger here. The fact that they're talking, the fact that they're at the table is their sign of weakness. And they also want to see if we have signs of weakness, if we have signs of desperation. This is their moment to get us back to the table and work us over in negotiations and then have a deal that, who knows, do they keep this deal the way the MOU fell apart? Is he back at the table in 2 weeks again, having to go back to military operation? So if I'm the president, wonderful, they're talking. I'm squeezing them. We have a blockade going. We are getting ships out of the Strait of Hormuz despite the firing on ships, 5 million barrels per day. Let's get that to 10 million barrels per day. And if you keep the squeeze on and they keep talking, at some point they realize they're running out of gas and they give more concessions.
And I know there are a lot of efforts to move oil out of the Gulf in other ways, and there's, construction being done on pipelines. Obviously, that takes some time, but it also makes Iran, it lessens their power in the region. What do you think about the pressure that the Saudis and others keep putting on the president to go back to the table?
Well, the Saudis and others obviously are contemplating what the retaliation will be from Iran if they retain precision capabilities to hit their energy infrastructure if we hit Iran's first. So I understand that hesitation, by the way. You're seeing oil prices fall today right now. Everybody's celebrating that. If you went into a tit-for-tat on energy infrastructure, I guarantee you the prices would be a lot higher and you wouldn't like it. At the same time, the Saudis obviously are keeping us afloat and in the game with 7 million barrels per day moving overland through the pipelines that already exist and the Red Sea traffic. So when it comes to our Saudi relationship, we need to coordinate with them. They are important. They have joined us in military action against Iran's proxies in Iraq. They're attacking right now Iran's proxy in Yemen, the Houthis. And so I do think that there's more to the story than just them saying, hey, we won't allow you to take on Iran.
Rich Goldberg, great to have you on. I hope you'll join us again soon. Thank you very much, sir. Good to have you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.